It was cool, but certainly not cool to be uncomfortable.
It was a bit embarrassing at first.
Well, it's a nice sensation. I wouldn't say it's particularly sexual, but it's nice.
But he was very professional and almost like going to the dentist, really.
I was watching him doing castings for women that weren't particularly comfortable with the way they looked, so that's where I first saw it, and then I contacted him. I just thought, why not? I could do that, why not?
I wanted to make sure that I had, I guess, a copy or a timepiece of my body at where it is right now, and I thought that that would be a good opportunity to get that done.
My friend told me about it, and initially I thought that she was coming to get a cast for her own pleasure, her own mantelpiece, and then when she explained what it was about, I thought it was a good idea, and I was happy to do it too.
Women were coming to the workshop to be cast. They were seeing the cast of the other women, and they were saying things like, oh, God, I had no idea they looked so different, or I wish mine looked like that one, or, you know, or I feel much better about mine now, whatever it is they said. And I thought, this is weird. You know, what's going on here? I had no idea that women had anxiety about their bits. And so I thought, wow, this is interesting. As an artist, I wonder if I could take this any further. And that was kind of the inception of it, but there's a long way to go before I decided to make this massive sculpture. It kind of happened by accident, and it got so big, but that was the inception. The very first sort of strangers that I did, yeah, I was nervous about just not fucking it up, and you know, didn't know what to say, and was probably quite clumsy, and like just, you know, not quite knowing what I'm doing, you know, and then it becomes natural. So eventually, you know, the whole actions that I was doing were just, I didn't have to think about it, and it meant I could actually engage with the person a lot better than probably my first attempts. Right, so you need to basically be like this, but sort of legs apart, so I can kind of get. So can I just put you in that position? Okay, just like that. As wide as you can go, but comfortably. And the wider you can go, basically, the flatter I can get the cast, so it fits better.
If my heels are touching together,
that's good. Yeah, that's really good. Let me just move that so I don't get any goo on your thing. In fact, could you scooch down the table just a little bit, because it saves me having to reach.
No, that's okay.
Okay, that's good. Right, first off, a little bit of Nivea. It might be a bit cold, sorry. It's just the time of year. Okay. It's just so I can get you out, particularly just on your pubic hair.
We don't want to leave that in the cast.
We don't want to get a waxing at the same time. So that kind of deals with that. Okay.
I liked the ethos of the whole piece. I liked the fact that the drive to do the piece was about, you know, showing different women all the different types of varieties of vagina that you can have, of which we now know there's lots.
So here we go. Looks a bit like melted Smurf. You're probably too young to remember the Smurfs, but
I like sweet kind of I do remember Smurfs. It's not as bad as I expected, actually, the temperature was. So literally it just feels like cold goop that's being poured over the top, and then obviously he keeps on layering it and layering it, and that just literally feels like a big mud mask, but for your wenny.
Basically, the mould largely made. I just have to fight gravity for a couple of minutes while this sets.
I think depending on men's kind of politics and their ideals already about women, it will maybe make more or less a difference on how they view women after seeing and experiencing the artwork. Brighton traditionally is a place that's a little bit debauched and that's much more polysexual, and maybe people are more open to such an exhibition.
Okay, that's that bit done. Now, the next layer.
It helps you to get over any body issues, I think, so it's quite useful. It kind of, especially I think lots of women feel like, you know, that their particular shape of their vagina is a bit odd or different because they are all different, but I think often women think that theirs is wrong or a bit weird, and so it kind of gets you over that when you have it done and you see that there's all these other ones and they're all completely different.
About, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. You're out of here, your work here is done.
Perfect.
So, do that.
Yeah, that feels good.
I'm just going to
Yeah,
pull it
fine.
off the pubic hair kind of slowly,
No worries.
so we don't...
That's fine.
Okay.
Funny my beautician was that gentle, Jamie.
There you go.
Thank you.
There it is.
That's lovely.
It's a girl.
I guess. Wow, that looks quite symmetrical by the look so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't pass comment.
No.
That would be wrong.
No, but it looks, yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. All right. Well, then basically that's what I then cast the plaster into here, and you get the finished result.
Looking at it from a cast, I was quietly surprised. I thought it was beautiful. You know, I really was pleased with it, and I think it's great that I have like this record. I mean, a vagina is a really important piece of equipment. You know, I mean, it's the gateway to life, really. And not only that, obviously, it's a place that, you know, gives you a great deal of joy and pleasure. But it's an important piece of your anatomy, and I like the fact that rather than maybe a photograph, which is quite stark, this is a much softer way of, you know, a milestone, a record of, you know, what your body looks like.
Oh, that's nice to see. Isn't that nice and creamy? It was becoming clear to me by talking to lots of women is that there's, you know, huge anxiety about whether they look normal, and that was kind of why I kind of kept going, and because I thought, if I make this, and then there you are, you've got your hundreds of casts of normal women, sort of from now and forever, that imagery is going to be out there, and then no one's ever going to have to worry about their bits again. And that's really as simple as that. I just asked everybody who had a vagina, and some people said yes, which was great. Most people said, you're out of your fucking mind. But that was okay, I kind of expected that reaction. Do men care? Whether they really care, I doubt it. I think if they're lucky enough to get near one, they're probably pretty pleased about it, no matter what it looks like. Personally, I don't have a preference. I don't think I could have done this if I had a preference.
I think some people will think it's disgusting and, you know, why would people do that, and we don't need to see women's fannies. But I think other people will look on it as a work of art, because actually it's quite a pretty, nice sculpture in its own right, but also see the interest behind it and, you know, the meaning behind it as well.
So things have changed now. The exhibition launch, or the launch of the Great Wall of Vagina, is going to be in here, in my studio, in the May Festival, or the Brighton Festival Fringe. So lots of people will be in town, so it's a good opportunity to just show this to lots of people. And I thought, why not do it in here, do it in my own studio? So that's what's going to happen. This place is going to get stripped out. Everything's going to go. New floor. The walls are going to be painted. Get some nice lights. and turn this into a gallery space rather than a workshop just for the month of May.
To bring the idea of women's bodies and parts of our bodies back into it being more aesthetic, into an art, a piece of art, I think is very different to women being objectified with a kind of pornographic or sexualised or male gaze. I think seeing it in art or an educational context is very different, and also because the whole nature of the project feels very empowering for women, that in itself can help to counteract the kind of damaging view of women.
The idea of beauty from a sexually provocative type media shows a lot of women that have vaginas that don't have any hair, for instance, that are quite neat looking, and not everyone is like that. And I can imagine until you've had experience from seeing other different types of women, you might associate that is the norm.
Maybe I could be pointing. Don't point. Okay.
Pull your stomach in, please. Pull your stomach in, please.
That's the best I can do.
Really?
I'm old. I have to lean more forward.
Yeah, well, sort of stand up straight.
Okay. I can't imagine that I've included every single possible thing. I'm no expert on this stuff, but I have, I think, accumulated just about everybody that I could think of that I wanted, from transgendered people who've had serious vulval diseases and things like that have left them different and changed afterwards, and identical twins, two sets of those. I thought that would be interesting. Mothers and daughters. I mean, none of this stuff was critical, but I thought it would all add to the kind of gravitas of the piece, really. So even strangers would start talking to each other about it. It would sort of create this dialogue. There's no embarrassment about looking at these things. If they were pictures, there would be. I think people wouldn't. I'm hoping people will flock to see the piece, and I hope that it will make talking about these things more normal. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, whether this is going to be a damp squib, one day in the press and then forgotten about, or whether there will be enough media interest to really get people talking and hopefully, make it less of a taboo. People are curious. We're all curious. I think that's why people are going to come and see. We're curious about what other people look like. We want to know where we fit in. I'm very excited and just waiting to see what happens when this gets in front of the public. I'm a little bit nervous about it, so we'll see.